Let's try and get Maxey in the action early. Let's try and get Kyle Lowry in the action early. Get a quick screen. Now make you navigate. But the Sixers held strong with their principles, to JJ's point, with the scouting report, with, hey, we're going to navigate. We're going to rear view contest. We're going to make sure that we're in front of you and making everything tough. I just love that back and forth they had, because the Knicks, again, they've seen this throughout this season with Jalen Brunson. And so you have the moments where Josh Hart's on the wing and he cuts. And now all of a sudden the Sixers have to react. And now you open up a three for Miles McBride. Or you have Miles McBride seeing drop and just hitting three after three. So that was just so much fun to me to watch them kind of battle through that.
A couple things on that, guys. Number one, with Maxey, I don't know if we explicitly said this on the broadcast, but I know we were talking about it multiple times during breaks. And I think I got the mention in there. I thought when they targeted and hunted Maxey, he was outstanding defensively. No real breakdown, just in terms of getting blown by. And that's been a problem for the Sixers. It's been a problem for literally every Nick Nurse coach team. They've literally been top 2 in blow-by percentage in his coaching career. So he wants guys up. That happens. He wants to create turnovers. That's going to happen. Maxey was outstanding at the point of attack. He battled his ass off when Jalen took him to the post and got physical. And he reciprocated the physicality. If you go back and watch a lot of the misses from Brunson in the post when he went to his footwork game, he was short. And some of that is the toll of just what Philadelphia was throwing at him. It takes it a little bit out of you, but also on specific plays where you're being physical and trying to muscle Maxey and he's giving it right back to you. Like, it's short. It was like, okay, there's some actual impact being made from a physicality standpoint. The rear view contest, which I touched on, Maxey's fucking awesome. Like, we know he's awesome. On both ends of the floor, that was like a fucking 10 out of 10 Maxey game for me. It really was. To bring up the level, which I think is important in this specific context of what we're talking about. So what I saw every time he was at the level, they're obviously pulling the help side over. Why do teams not want to be at the level, and why do they want to play drop coverage? We want to stay out of rotation. We want to not have the ball go to the short roll where it's behind the big, right? The problem, or not the problem, but the riddle that New York's going to have to solve in these situations is how to get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands faster when he's at the level. And the issue in this context is if Kelly Oubre is guarding him and it's Joel Embiid at the level, that is a lot of size versus a smaller player. And I'm not saying Jalen Brunson can't get off the ball quicker. I'm saying that's the riddle the Knicks have to solve, and they will make adjustments. Third thing I want to say, you brought up some counter stuff. I thought the play that I loved the most was in the fourth. They brought up 2 guys to the high pick and roll. Mitchell Robinson was one of them. Oubre switched. Robinson rolled. And there was just a little bit of confusion. It wasn't Spain or Stack pick and roll. It almost looked like a 45 action, but just with different personnel. And what that confusion created was Joel Embiid took Mitchell Robinson on the roll, and OG Anunoby ended up wide open on the left wing. He had like the early shake from the corner. Like, he was up high. Josh Hart was directing traffic. Jalen made a perfect pass, open 3. That was a big one that gave them a little bit of separation. It's stuff like that I will be looking for tonight in game 2. It's how do we create some level of confusion to get space and open bodies so that Jalen Brunson can either operate or he can make plays.
I remember that exact play because Josh Hart was calling for them to come at the same time. I think Tobias Harris just held too long. I think that was also set up by the fact that Jalen Brunson was mixing in more rejects in pick and roll, to where he was just going to reject that screen and drive and attack and find a way to force pressure on the Sixers that way. And so I'm wondering, is that going to be the key? Do we now know you're going to deny we mix in more of those backdoor cuts, more of the blind pig action type, to where we can now punish you for that, and now we get some of these rejects and get in the paint and we play out of that?
Yeah, I would expect, and Nikai, I'll let you know, but I just want to touch on that real quick, because I would expect they had the and one early, It wasn't exactly their blind pig action, but it was a similar concept with Hartenstein catching the ball, Jalen getting denied, backdoor, right? Gets the N1 on Oubre. I would expect more of that, and I would expect where they set screens. I think a lot of empty side pick and rolls, to be honest with you, which allows Jalen, who has rejected more pick and rolls than anyone in the NBA this season, to have enough space where if he does create a reject, he has somewhere to go.
And I would just say, just to bounce off of that, one way to avoid having a big at the level is to not to call the big up. So I do wonder how often they just clear a wing with some cuts and say, Jalen, just drive. Or if you are going to go pick and roll, Josh Hart logged 5 reps as the pick and roll screener in game 1. If you're going to have Kyle Lowry there, I would imagine that's a switch. Then let's see if Jalen Brunson can just boogie against Kyle Lowry. And again, you have to reconfigure some of the spacing to make sure that you can't just load up help behind that. But that would be a way to just get Jalen Brunson downhill against someone that isn't just bigger than him.
Yep. I also think with Josh as the screener in a high pick and roll situation, if he can create a screening angle where he can get behind the switching defender and you can get him the ball in space around the free throw line area and create that 4-on-3 that we always talk about, the Knicks have size down low and they've got shooting on the wing. Like that to me would create good offense for them. Can we just also just say one thing? Like I briefed it. We have to mention this. Like Philly is a bottom 10 defensive rebounding team. And some of that, of course, is the fact that Joel Embiid missed half the season. All right. We're going to contextualize that for sure. The Knicks are the best offensive rebounding team in the league. 23 offensive rebounds in game 1. They had 10 more shots and they shot 16 for 35 from 3. Now, again, you're not banking on Josh Hart making 4 threes. I'm sorry, Josh. I love you to death. I'm just not expecting you to make 4 threes a game. By the way, you're a fucking competitor. You rise to the moment. You've got stones. Dude, I said this at the end of the broadcast. Like, give me all the Josh Harts. I want all the Josh Harts on my team. I want all of them. God. And yes, he's my friend. I don't care. Like, I want that guy on my team. I don't care that, oh, God. He's just,
Build
I want those guys. Anyways, the offensive rebounding stuff. How concerned are you for the Philadelphia 76ers? Like, we saw it last year with Cleveland. We saw it last year with Cleveland in the first round against the New York Knicks. Like, we talk about creating margins and creating advantages. This is one of, if not the biggest, advantage the Knicks have in this series. How concerned are you about this specific aspect of this matchup?
It's a yes for me, because even when Embiid was healthy on the floor, the Sixers weren't an elite defensive rebounding team. So this was going to be a built-in advantage for the Knicks in general. And it kind of ties into, honestly, the coverage deal as we started out with pick and roll stuff. If Joel Embiid's going to be at the level, who exactly is crashing the glass behind him if he ends up on the perimeter? If Jalen Brunson's able to advance the pass, they drive to the basket, they miss at the rim, who's cleaning it up? Like Tobias Harris, I think, had a double-double or at least had 10-plus rebounds. But, like, you can't rely on him to save you.
I think he had 9, didn't he?
Had 9. So you can't rely on him to save you on the defensive glass. Like, Steve pokes at me all the time about me being just a general fan of Paul Reed. He's never been the strongest rebounder, if you're talking about those minutes in particular. You factor in it, and the Knicks will just fly in from everywhere. Josh Hart will crash. We'll get a random one from Deuce. Isaiah Hartenstein's really good on the offensive glass. Like, they can just kind of hit you from everywhere. So absolutely, I think it's going to be a problem moving forward.